Motortrend staff recently did a side-by-side comparison of the newly refreshed Model 3 versus the pre-refresh version to see just how much better the new vehicle really is. Plus, it looks like the Performance Model 3 is about to get a ludicrous upgrade based on something that was found in the Tesla parts catalog. Stick around as I discuss some highlights from Motortrend's reaction to the newly refreshed Model 3, and also a few details about the new Ludicrous Performance Model 3. I'm John, and this is Cleanerwatt. The new Model 3 is available to order pretty much everywhere except for North America, which is a departure from the usual rollout of Tesla's new vehicles. However, when it does come to the US market, I have no doubt that there's going to be a lot of demand for that vehicle because the new version is so much better, as was reported in this Motortrend article comparing the old Model 3 to the new version. I will put a link to this Motortrend article in the video description, and I do recommend that you go over and read it because I'm not going to cover all the details mentioned in the article, but rather I want to focus in on the author's reaction to the changes that have been made to the Model 3. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into some of the highlights. First of all, the author wrote, quote, "The new Model 3 looks, feels, and drives like a new car. One that keeps what owners loved about the old one and improves what they didn't." Based on that reaction, it's very clear that the Tesla team listened to customers and they improved an already great vehicle and made it even better. Based on the exterior changes, the author of this article seems to be a fan of those exterior changes, and this article includes some very positive reactions to the exterior changes of the vehicle. In one specific section, the author wrote, quote, "The headlights aren't the only things pointier than before. The entire nose takes on a more blade-like profile when viewed from the side and looks dramatically better for it." The author also pointed out the new 19-inch wheels, which they referred to as sharper looking than the old ones. And when it comes to the front of the vehicle, the author wrote, quote, "You can clearly see how much more elegant the new Model 3's snoot looks compared to the doughier old model. Going beyond just style changes, the new Model 3 apparently has better build quality than the old model." The author wrote, quote, "On a more functional level, you might notice, if you peer closely enough at the image above, how much tighter the panel gaps are and how much better the overall build quality appears." Based on the Tesla Model 3 images shared in this Motortrend article, if you look at that rear license plate holder, it looks like this is a European spec version of the vehicle. Although the vehicle does have California manufacturer license plates, the rear license plate holder shape makes me believe that this vehicle was built at Gigafactory Shanghai, which is known for excellent build quality. With that being said, hopefully this excellent build quality will translate over when Tesla starts building the new refreshed Model 3 at their Fremont factory in California. The author then goes on to point out the fact that while the dimensions of the Model 3 really have stayed the same, the rear looks lower, wider, and better than before. And when it comes to the interior of the vehicle, the author apparently was not a fan of the old design, which they described in the following way. Moving inside the Model 3s, here's the old one. Note the somewhat cheap-looking steering wheel, fake-looking wood trim, and like on the exterior, inconsistent fit and finish. However, moving to the new Model 3, the author wrote, quote, "Material quality is way up, and more of the interior benefits from soft-touch materials." Something else that the author wrote about in this article has to do with how the doors sound when you shut them. Referring to the old doors, the author wrote, quote, "Slam the old 3's doors and you'll cringe through a crashy, hollow sound." However, with the new Model 3, the author wrote, quote, "The new 3's doors, front and rear, shut with a solid-sounding woomph, befitting a premium sedan that effectively plays in the same sandbox, price-wise, as a BMW 3 Series and Mercedes C-Class." I'm guessing that one of the reasons for the better sound when you shut the door has to do with more insulation in the door, because Tesla apparently did some things beyond the acoustic glass to make the cabin quieter, and that soundproofing very likely makes that door sound better when you're shutting it. This is a somewhat minor thing, but when you add all these minor things together, it does make for a better experience with the vehicle. When it comes to a comparison of the old Model 3's rear seats to the new Model 3's rear seats, describing the old seats, the author wrote, quote, "Sit in the old Model 3's rear seat and we'll hope you fit. The roomy area is let down by the awkward cushion and backrest positioning with the former too low." When it comes to the new Model 3, the author wrote, quote, "The new Model 3's rear seat area is now vastly more comfortable to sit in, the cushion is a little deeper and sits higher off the floor, while a more raked backrest helps offset that new height to keep the headroom acceptable." So once again, it looks like the Tesla design team did an amazing job with the newly refreshed Model 3, and I can't wait to see these vehicles here in North America. Now, moving beyond the Motortrend article, as I mentioned in the intro of the video, apparently Tesla is about to bring out a new Ludicrous Performance Model 3. This was shared by the Kilowatts on X.com, and in the Tesla parts catalog is an image of a special badge that is shown here, positioned above the dual motor lettering, which, as at Anti-Brunch pointed out on X.com, is different from the plaid Model S and X badge, and instead likely designates a ludicrous version of the vehicle, which would once again be a throwback to the 1987 movie Spaceballs. As a reminder, in that movie, ludicrous speed is not quite as fast as plaid speed. So because of this, this new Model 3 Performance will likely be faster than the existing model, but don't expect it to go 0 to 60 miles per hour in less than 2 seconds like the plaid Model S. Very likely the 0 to 60 mile per hour time of this new Ludicrous Performance Model 3 will drop below 3 seconds, because on Tesla's website, the existing model is able to go 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.1 seconds. It'll also be fun to see just how fast a new Ludicrous Model 3 will be able to complete a quarter mile as well. I'm looking forward to the newly refreshed Model 3 coming here to the USA and for a new Ludicrous Performance model. Do let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. And also, I'd like to say once again, thank you to all of those of you who support me through Patreon. Your support makes a big difference and really does help make these videos possible. If you'd like to find out more about how you can support my work through Patreon, I will put a link in the video description. Thank you so much.